Hey, what's up guys? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids, and today we're looking at this fixed blade from Hogue Knives. This is the EX-F02, an Alan Elishewitz design. Steel is 154 cm, 9 inches from end to end, a 4.5 inch blade. This is a clip point design. Lots of options when it comes to how you get this type of knife set up. So the EX-F02, you can get it in the tumble finish, you can get it with a black finish. You can get it with this style blade of clip point. You can also get it with a Tonto. You can also get the handle with black. There's brown inserts, blaze orange inserts, so lots of different options depending on what your preference is. There's also actually a cutout right here in one of the Tonto versions, so you can get that, with the groove cutout on the blade. Your price point is around $125 up to $130, and the knife is really good looking. It's been comfortable to just check out and to handle a little bit. We're going to put it through the paces today. I do want to show you the sheath really quick. So this is a polymer sheath. And it looks pretty basic when you first take a look at it, but if you listen here, so that clicks in. This thing, there's no movement whatsoever, and it's not going to fall out on you. What they have here, you got the polymer sheath, and you can see slots there. You got some holes, so you can secure that to a pack or whatever else you want to. On the back, you can see the clips here, but let me show you a close-up of what it actually looks like to work the opening and locking system for this sheath. Here's a close-up of the sheath, and what you have here, you've got a little paddle on this side and a paddle on this side. You can see that little groove right there in the knife. So this knife is totally secure, it's not going to come out. When you press the paddle to the side, it's going to unlock it, and now you can take the knife out. So that means because the grooves, or that little cutout is on both sides, you can put the knife in this way and lock it in, or you can put it in the other way and lock it in. And because paddles are on both sides, you can press it right to left, you can press it left to right, however you want to do it. So very, very secure, which is obviously a big deal. You don't want to lose a knife when you're out in the woods. The other thing that's really cool is this on the back, it says pull the dot. And what they have are these snaps, so you can put this on your belt. But when you pull this, there's no way to get this to come undone when you're pulling like that. However, when you pull up, it comes off really easily. So the way that the snap is built here, it's built so that you can pull it up and off really easily. But pull in any other direction, and it's not gonna come loose. And I'm like right now, I am really pulling on this thing, and there's nothing coming loose on that. So that little pop was just the part of the paddle mechanism you heard. So that's a cool setup. Really easy when you pull up, but every other direction you pull, you're not gonna be able to loosen this thing up. So here's a look at the knife actually on a belt. This is my buddy Brendan who's wearing it. So he's going to show you what it looks like to take it out. So I'll press one of the paddles and then draw the knife out. So very easy to do. And then I'll pop it back in. And just to show you that I wasn't just making it up, I had him test it out to see, if you pull on those tabs, definitely not coming loose. But then if you pull it the other way, simple enough. So that's really nice to actually get the knife into the sheath and then on the belt. Very simple. Okay, we're going to jump right into some batoning here, and I think we got all pine. Actually, no, it's not pine. What is that? It looks like oak. So we got some oak, which this thing quickly did quite well. Wood is a little bit damp, but not terribly damp. You're also going to hear in the background one of the military refueling planes that does its practice runs here on the seacoast of New Hampshire. Yeah, you're definitely going to hear it. It's a beast that's been following us all day. Yeah, that wood needs a little love.
It does well though.
Yeah, do this one and then swap over to another.
Oh.
Yeah, just try another one.
It's got a nice big knot in it. I am feeling a little bit of a hot spot right here when I'm holding it.
All right.
That just might have been my grip, but
no gloves too.
Yeah.
Duly noted.
Other than that, it's making quick work here.
There's a look at a pile of wood that we've batoned. Brendan said that it worked great as far as cutting through the wood in that batoning process. We'll now take some of this wood and work on some feather sticking. What you're looking at here is a bunch of wood that we made some feather sticks on. So for both Brennan and I, we would say definitely the knife works. I'm going to zoom out from here and actually show you the one spot for both of us that was giving us a little bit of a hot spot. I will tell you that the edge comes very sharp, and it did a good job there, and you could really use the entire edge to make these feather sticks. You didn't feel like you just had to use, you know, just that last portion of the blade close to the handle. It was comfortable to use at a lot of different angles. So looking at the blade here, essentially this section right here where it rests in your hand, you can see where that falls. That's where it got a little bit tender, right kind of in the crease there of your hand. You can actually see some of the lines from the jimping on the camera there. So when you're holding it like this, you know, and pushing down to make your feather stick, that section right there, a little bit of a hot spot. Not enough to say, you know, like it's gonna break through or give me a blister right there, but just be aware. Brendan was noting that when you choke up like this on the knife to do it, because it lifts your hands off that jimping, seems to be less of an issue. But when you do hold it like this, it does give you a little bit of a hot spot. Just to show you the thickness here real quick. So this is the Hogue, obviously, and this is a Rat 5. And you know, just something to know. So if you think, you know, you hold a Rat 5, a Rat 7, Rat 3, and you're like, that's just too big for my hand, well then this one may be a better option. If this fits you correctly, then this one may be a little bit too small for you. So that's what my hand looks like in the 3 or on the 5. And here's what my hand looks like on the Hogue. I'll give you a close up there. Definitely a significant difference between the two knives as far as your thickness. Here's what I just did with the EX-F02. So it does come with this these two holes at the bottom, you can see, so you can run a lanyard through that. Some people talk about that and then like a hole up here that you can see up in the blade or near the spine of the blade, and think about lashing it to a stick to make a spear. I personally, it's a feasible option, but I personally, if I'm going to make any kind of spear, I'm just going to make it with wood. If the wood breaks, I can carve a new piece of wood. If a knife breaks for some reason, you're really in a bad situation. But just to show you real quick, that's what I did. Actually carved a very sharp point, and then I went even thinner and it snapped off, so I did another one again. But you could see with the EX-F02, it did that quite effectively. And this is after batoning, doing quite a bit of feather sticking, and then carving basically two spear points. So with all that, the knife has stayed sharp, and I would say, again, you could see my hand's a little bit red there, right in the crease, but I'm not getting a blister. I'm not getting a blister despite the fact that I've been, you know, doing this motion for a long time with the knife. There we go. This is pine. Trying to be a little bit careful because it's, you know, it's not a 1/4 inch, it's not a BK2 or something like that, but you can see we're getting into the heart of the wood. And I would definitely say this is a test beyond what I would normally do with this knife. I wouldn't do a lot of hardcore stabbing and piercing into a really hard substance. But pine is relatively soft, so it seems to be holding up. And all right, so looking at it from my angle and from your angle at the camera, no issues whatsoever. Looks like it's in solid shape. Now we're on to oak, and Brendan's stabbing in here. And again, we're not going nuts here because it's not built to be like I said, it's not a 1/4 inch thick knife. But if you had to do some piercing or stabbing, I shot a video recently where I was doing this to make a blaze on a tree just to test out a knife, and that could certainly be a use for the knife. Yeah, you can do that, and now you can wedge, man. Like go side to side and see what the strength is like.
I wasn't sure. I was getting it kind of deep, so.
Yeah. I mean, our goal isn't to break the knife. You could probably break any knife doing a test like this, but we want to see, are there any bends? Yeah. This is not, in my opinion at least, this is not built to me like your ultimate tactical survival knife for guys jumping out of airplanes and such. I mean, this is, we'll talk about best uses for this knife in a minute, but part of the way I think about tip strength for the stabbing test is also like at what point when I'm prying do I feel like I'm uncomfortable, I think this might be bad for the knife. So if you barely stab it in and it starts to get, you know, you start to get nervous, then it's probably not, doesn't have the greatest tip strength. If you stab it in and you're like, I can go nuts with this, then obviously it's something that's probably pretty strong. Here's a look at the tip of the knife, and you can see definitely no issues, no bends whatsoever. And then we'll do a close-up here of the tree, so you can see how deep we stabbed into this oak tree. Here's a look at the knife actually in the tree. So when you think about the depth of the bark and then getting into the tree, we're probably in, I mean, definitely not an inch, but I would say about half an inch probably from the outside of the bark to all the way where the tip of the knife is, maybe even a little bit more than that. So it definitely held up for that test. We're gonna do a test to see if it'll throw a spark off of fire steel now. So there's the swedge up top. That doesn't seem to give a whole lot.
Nothing here either.
So far, the only place we've gotten a spark is from the jimping. So give it a couple more shots with with just the normal spine, and then we'll go to the swedge too.
Okay.
There's just something to be aware of. Maybe you don't need a knife that can throw a spark off of fire steel. Ooh, hear that? You guys are getting a treat here on video. Not just the refuelers flying today, but definitely some fighter jets out there.
Yeah, so nothing really besides the jimping.
All right, so jimping, that'll give you a spark off your fire steel. Everything else, no dice, and you're welcome for the gift of the probably F-16s that are flying around. We're gonna wrap up here, give you some final thoughts on the EX-F02. So both Brendan and I had a chance to use it for quite a bit today. I'll give you my thoughts and then he can share his. Overall, I would put this in like it looks like I'm stabbing you in the head, sorry. I would put this in the category of like a really nice camping knife or overall outdoor knife. Lightweight, so 5.5 ounces. This thing, I was comparing it to Brennan's Rat 5 and definitely notably lighter than that. And the sheath system is excellent. That's one of the coolest, I think, most unique sheath systems I've seen in quite a while. It locks in, it's lightweight, those pull tabs on the back, what do they call it? Pull the dot. Just kind of a cool knife overall as far as the sheath and the overall setup. For 125 bucks, if you want to invest, probably what I think is like going to be a lifelong investment for a camping knife, outdoor knife, general use knife, this could be a good option. It's going to do food prep well and things like that. It's not going to be one that you are going to use for heavy hardcore use. We didn't do any chopping with it. You can imagine, you know, holding it like this and chopping. He's got his Endura on him, and it weighs a little bit more than the Endura, it feels like. So, and size-wise, it's just not going to be a chopper. If you have to do chopping, you want something other than this. But those are some initial thoughts from me as far as the knife. Brendan, what do you think, man?
Yeah, the only thing I would say is, for me personally, we talked about the hotspot already right here.
Yep.
And also the jimping on the handle for me is a little bit too much.
So Hogue, if you tone that back a little bit,
right,
probably better for overall use.
Yeah, but like the jimping on the blade itself is very nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too crazy, but you definitely get grip on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the other thing I would say is it's very narrow. Like we talked about, I have my Endura on me, and it's a little bit thicker than that.
Yeah.
Itself.
Not by much, though. Not by much.
So I would say that's the only other thing that I would possibly change. But other than that, it's really nice. It's really light. I love the sheath.
Yep.
The pull the dot thing that you talked about already is sweet.
Yep.
It stabs really well.
Yep.
And I would say
I kept an edge the whole time.
Yeah.
The 154 CR.
Yeah. Good stuff. We like
really
that.
well.
Yeah. But I would say, yeah. I mean, if it's going to be something I invest in, I'm not going to use it for like super survival or outdoors, stuff like that.
Yep.
Just because, you know, you can't really throw sparks or anything like that. But I would say definitely as a camping knife, as, you know, a knife to use it solid.
Yeah. So there you go. That's again the EX-F02. This one I would definitely call a solid performer as far as an overall outdoor knife. And if you're looking for something that's going to be, you know, I think probably an investment that you're going to have for years and years and years, this could be one worth checking out. So I've got links down below if you want to head to Amazon and pick up one of these. And again, lots of options for your colors and your style blade. So that's it. Thanks for checking out the video, and subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids. More videos coming soon. Take care.